Hey Bible lovers, I'm Tim Nichols and I'm here to bring you your Nichols Worth. And today from Holman, also known as Lifeway, we have the King James and the CSB giant print Bibles. So we're going to check them out. But before we do that, first of all, I just want to say that the Holman Handcrafted collection has been out for a while and they've kind of evolved over time. But I want to start off from the beginning. This was the first, to my knowledge, part of the Handcrafted collection. In fact, this came out before it was even called the Handcrafted collection. It was just a premium Holman Bible. And they did some great work with these, really nice spine work, nice spine stamping. And I really appreciated early on that they did these tooled hubs because, you know, raised hubs, there's a lot of them. It's got a little bit of a curved spine. I thought that was really nice. They came out with really nice ribbons, double-sided, just really excellent. Now this one is actually the second edition when they came out with the Handcrafted collection. The first ones had a little bit more dinky ribbons. But when we look at the goat skin, really nice perimeter stitching. It's got an animal skin liner, really nice gilt line, really nice corners, excellent end sheet with edge line tab. And one thing Holman does, it's different than a lot of other premium Bible producers, is they glue the end sheet all the way up to the top with the text block. A lot of them will leave it unglued this way. Now, one reason I like this feature is because it's going to alleviate any confusion, because some people think because this separates, it's a flaw instead of a feature, but it's actually a feature. Of course, this layout, love it. It's got the red accents, 36 GSM paper. It's got your references in the corner, notes on the bottom, wide margin on the inside and the outside. They later came out with this edition in brown goat skin. They also have like the NASB, a few study Bibles, a few other King James that come out in the Handcrafted collection. But recently, they have released these different colors in calfskin. This is the slate gray. This is the burgundy. This is the marbled chestnut. And this is the marbled olive. All four of them beautiful. These are newer color options. These have been around for a while. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at each one and their features. I'll put these videos on the end screen where I reviewed these, but this is the CSB personal size. It has a little bit of an upgrade in the paper. It has red accents, has this beautiful 10-point font. You got your notes on the bottom. There's not a lot of references in these, but when you get to the New Testament, they will add a few extra references along with their footnotes. In fact, when you see the Old Testament being quoted, you'll see that it's in bold. And a lot of times you'll see a reference letter there, and you go to the bottom and it'll let you know where that is in the Old Testament. So that's sort of a cross-referencing system. But a couple of things they did is, number one, they started with raised hubs instead of those tool lines, which I think is a great choice. Another thing is that stamping is really deep. With the gray, one thing I love is the silver accents here with the foil. They did that with the gilding, and then check that out, really beautiful blue accent art gilding. Animal skin liner, just outstanding. They did not with this one. So here's an example, go all the way to the top. So this is a feature, not a flaw. Don't rip that. And then they did the wide margin, just like the one I just showed you, in this red calfskin, burgundy calfskin. Really beautiful marbling effect. Again, the same with the hubs and the gold stamping. Really nice upgraded ribbons, just really beautiful. Animal skin liner, gilt line, cut corners to really make those nice corners. Edge line tab, and this one is also glued part of the way up. Presentation page, it has all the extra bells and whistles that you'd expect. Really beautiful 10-point font. Has that 2K Denmark Bible serif font, just really beautiful. But now let's move into what you want to see, and that is these brand new releases in the marbled chestnut and marbled olive. So let's first start with the King James. Of course, raised hubs on the spine, beautiful stamp work, really nice stitching, and it looks like a little bit of a darker stitching, like they went with an accent on this. Two really nice double-sided satin ribbons, all three of them in that gold family. Black liner, edge line tab, and then with this one, they went all the way to the top. I actually wish they'd go ahead and be consistent, because kind of going back and forth is a little confusing, but you can see this is all the way up to the top, and I like that because then it doesn't tempt people to tear it. So now let's move into the text itself. Beautiful 12-point font. In the King James, this is going to be in a verse-by-verse format with those red accents. This has really nice Bible paper. I don't know that it's 36 GSM, but I think it is. It feels like 36 GSM. It's definitely no less than 33. But it's line matched, has that nice bold, dark Bible serif font, laid out by 2K Denmark, really nice, generous gutter space. So that 2-column text is out of that gutter, and you still get, look, you get margins on the side, you get margins on the bottom. Very, very nice text. Now, one thing interesting about this that you won't see in most of the CSBs, I didn't say all, but most of the CSBs, is this has the words of Christ in red. And when the words of Christ are in red, you'll see those verse numbers remain red. One thing I'd like to see is whenever the words of Christ are in red, go ahead and swap those verse numbers to black so they stand out in the black and the red text. It's a little complicated. Some people wouldn't like it, but that's just my preference. Really nice. Another thing is really nice floral design there when you introduce each book. These are going to be in red as well. And then when we get to the back, you're going to have where to turn in the Bible. You're going to have your tables of weights and measures. You're going to have your topical concordance. And then after your concordance, you're going to have your Holman maps on that flat Bible paper. I love this flat Bible paper. So we're going to open this back up and we're going to move it out of the way. And then we're going to pull out the CSB giant print as well. And this one doesn't have any notes or any references. That's something important to point out. This one does have some notes. And the font looks a tad smaller, but it's not. And I'm going to show you why it looks smaller. These are both a 12-point font. Look how bold that font is. See, that's why boldness matters so much. A bold font looks much larger. This one doesn't have quite the level of boldness, even though they're both a 12-point font. This one does have some limited footnotes on the bottom. Both of them have that 2-column layout with the red accents and the red verse numbers. When you get to the beginning of a book, it's going to have that same red accent to the name of the book, going to have that same flower, and then of course your notes on the bottom. Both of these have the really nice red art gilding, the really nice gilt lines going all the way around the cut corners, just really beautiful. Another important thing to note is when you get to the Psalms and Job and the poetic books, that your King James is not going to be typeset in that poetic form. I don't know why that's the case, but it seems that a lot of publishers shy away from doing that poetic typeset in the King James, but they'll do it in their own translation or in a different translation. Almost every translation has poetic typesettings other than the King James. And then when you get into the New Testament, this one is going to have the words of Christ in black. And one feature I really like about the CSB, as I pointed out earlier, is it has the Old Testament references in bold. And then it'll have a letter by it. This has A and B. So this is letting you know there's 2 textual footnotes that are tied to this verse. One of them is a footnote and the other one is referencing it to the Old Testament. That's really helpful, number one, for this to be bold so that you can see this is an Old Testament reference, but also so you can see where the reference happens. So this isn't completely referenceless, but it doesn't have a bunch of references. It has 3 really pretty olive double-sided satin ribbons. And then, of course, when you get to the back of this one, after the book of Revelation, you're going to have your same features that you have in the King James. And you're going to have that where to turn. And what where to turn is it's like when you're feeling blue, when you're having problems, when you're tempted, when you feel attacked by Satan, and on and on. It's going to have these different topics, and it's going to lay them out where you can find verses to handle that situation. Then it's going to have your tables of weights and measures, just like this. And then it's going to have your topical concordance, and, of course, your Holman maps at the end on that flat cardstock. Love it. Really beautiful. I also like this, that it lets you know what the cover is made of. It's got the calfskin leather cover. And some people have fussed that this calfskin tends to wrinkle. I have not seen that on any of my editions, but it does tend to scratch. There's a little scratch right there, and I haven't been able to rub that out. But ultimately, the chestnut, when I curl that cover, I don't see any wrinkling happening here. On the red burgundy, when I've curled that cover, there might be a little bit of wrinkling, but it's not a big deal. And when it straightens right back out, plus it's going to give it some character over time. And then you have the slate, same thing. I don't see any wrinkling happening there. So these are well done. They do tend to have a little bit of a chemical smell at first, and I don't know how long it takes that to rub off. I know I've had these probably about a year, and I don't smell any chemical with these. But with these, they do have a little bit of a chemical smell out of the box. So just kind of be prepared for that. But they are very nice, very well done. God bless you. Keep calm. Jesus on. This is your Nicholsworth.